Yeah.
As we are
Yeah.
heading towards the end of this term and awaiting Easter holidays that are just around the corner, um, and having a little break for those who have school-age children and possibly kindergarten as well. And we were actually just talking and wondering, what is it that you do for Easter? What are your traditions here in New Zealand? Because we are aware that in Europe, that's quite a different celebration with the spring coming in, which has already happened. The spring's already there. And
Yeah. Yeah.
autumn.
Yeah, because you think about everything that's traditional and even things that you see in the stores, and it's all spring sort of like little chickens and things. So you're like going, doesn't quite fit here, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder. It's like, because kind of it's starting to feel like you are, sort of starting to come into nest and hibernate a little bit, hey? And
Here.
yeah, yeah, I know that for us, the leaves are big here. We've got some deciduous trees where it's just like boom. Yeah, I love it. I love leaving the leaves. Leave the leaves. Is what I say to my husband. But he has the leaf blower that makes it all look very tidy, but yeah, it's not half as much fun.
No, it's not. But I'm quite curious. How do you celebrate Easter? What are your traditions at your house, Tineke? I can talk about mine because mine was so rich growing up in Europe,
Yeah.
in Czechoslovakia at that point. And yes, I remember so much from it, but it can bring us to the whole importance of the rituals and traditions and celebrations and festivals. So what is your tradition?
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's always like the egg hunt, hey, is the biggie for children, because gosh, don't they love finding things? I know there was I remember a mama who would reuse the foil and put it around feijoas and pieces of thing, and the children were just as excited. It wasn't so much about the chocolate; it was about the hunt. So I think that just has to remain. And I heard my daughter sort of instructing her boyfriend the other day about, okay, so you can set up the hunt for me and I'll set up the hunt for you, because they're heading away together. And I thought, oh, that's so sweet that they're still doing that.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
is very sweet. It's funny because you're saying, it's about the hunting for the eggs and looking for them. And I remember growing up, there was nothing like this for us. We had,
Ah,
yes, the Easter, the Good Friday was a big day, but it was all about fasting, and it was all about preparing for the next day. And for us, Easter eggs were actually hard-boiled eggs in onion skin. So they would get a beautiful color from the onions. And I
oh
also
yeah.
remember decorating them with wax a day before. And with a little pin and candle too. And that's something we try to do at our house. But that was
Ah,
Friday. That was Friday. And then I remember with my grandmother, she was always in the kitchen, always. As much as I remember, she just loved in the kitchen. And she had a real nurturing personality with food. Um, and she would also crochet and knit, and handwork was really important to her. So we would all have little baskets with a lovely crocheted covers on the top as well. And there was a little bunny and eggs on it. Um, and inside were the hard-boiled eggs and also homemade sausages that were smoked at home by my
wow.
grandmother. And we would have hrutka, which is homemade cheese, and beetroot relish.
Oh, yum.
It was beautifully prepared in little jars, in tiny little baskets, with this handmade crocheted cover on the top, and a nice bow as well tied of a color of a spring that represents the new beginning and awakening. And I remember we were so excited to wake up the next day because we would go walk to our local church that we had in our village. And we would wear the best dresses we could have. Like it was a big celebration. They were homemade as well by my mum. And
Oh,
we would walk with a family together. My sister and I with these tiny little baskets. My mum and dad would have their big basket, and the whole group of people, village, would gather together in a celebration of this new awakening and new spring that's coming. And yes, they would have a holy water put on that, and that is where we would come home, and a big feast would begin. We would all sit around the table and just eat and eat and eat until our bellies were so full.
so did you eat from your own basket?
um, we sort of put it all in the middle on the table.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
all about it's the togetherness. It wasn't
Yeah.
mine and yours.
Yeah.
It was more about, that's something I am taking, but it's for all of us to share. And that wouldn't finish, then it would be Sunday, and that's more of a rest day. And, we would often go to the church, but Monday was the real fun. That is where all the boys and girls, especially the younger generation, would just have a wonderful time, because if you were a girl, you'd be waiting at home, knowing that all these friends from the village would come knocking at your door with a bucket full of water, chasing you around, and you'd be running and laughing how slow they are.
Oh, oh, that sounds so much fun.
Oh,
Oh,
it was. I was just even thinking about it now, the beautiful memories and the impressions that it left.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And now,
And you bring some of that into your home now with your children.
it's a good question, because like I said, Tineke, it was always about bringing people together. So even that Monday, it was about people together, that togetherness.
Yeah.
And we were all aware of these traditions, and it was living in us. And here, I think if I knocked at a neighbor's door with a bucket of water,
Oh.
might not go down too well, but
Oh, you might not be so popular anymore, no.
might not be so popular. I think it really comes down to people holding it together and not facilitating, just making this tradition happen. And because we don't have that here, I still try to
Yeah,
recreate food and even the water on Monday. But it's not quite the same, not quite
yeah,
the same. And
yeah,
I think there's always that sort of a conflict, especially. I wonder what everyone else is feeling around us, especially if you come from a different culture and different country, and you have these fond memories,
yeah,
your
yeah,
childhood. And how do you manage to implement it or create that atmosphere here?
yeah.
It sort of comes down to reinventing it all.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, and adjusting to, the fact that our seasons are sort of the opposite, and that, like you say, culturally, it's all really different. And we have such an incredible wealth of culture as well in Aotearoa. So I think it's like, finding those communities that you can connect with who have had similar experiences, and have that affinity with you as well. And then it's also about moving and shifting into new ways of celebrating as well. And that was the best article yesterday, was that the Matariki date, public holiday date, has been set, because I'm like, it's just so great that we're going to have an official date. And it really, the education that's happened in the last, I would say, probably 7 to 10 years around Matariki, especially through the schooling system, hey, that it's really become alive. And I'm so excited about what that means for a whole population coming into you know, sort of celebrating this and growing this culture together of this celebration. So yeah, I'm looking forward to June.
Is it 24th? 24th of
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yes.
it's really great because I think, gosh, what can you create with your own whānau? Not just, oh, what's happening at school, but now what does this mean for our country and what do you create in your own homes that's going to celebrate this and where is that understanding and you know growth I think for us as a population and that yeah, that real sense of coming together. And I think this has been especially missing over these last few years, hey, where there's been so much separation.
It has, you're right, Tineke.
Yeah. So yeah, I am a hot cross bun maker.
You are.
To the point that last year, it was a, no, maybe it was 2 years ago, I made the most perfect hot cross buns, and the oven was a little bit iffy, but um, it has one of those pyro locks on it, and it locked and wouldn't let me open the oven to get them out. And I was like, I had spent all day making these, right? And I was like, this oven is not going to stop me. And so I thought, oh, if I just pull it really hard, it'll come out. Well, actually the whole door fell apart, and luckily my sister was there, and because it's a pyro, there was about 4 different sheets of glass. Luckily we were able to catch them and they didn't break, but the whole oven at that point needed replacing.
Well, that was
so they were yeah, very expensive hot cross buns. Yeah, yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm making them this year.
Let me know. Or maybe I'd like to have your recipe as well. Give it a go. Also, we usually bake, but yeah, not just buns. Something
Oh,
slightly.
this beautiful friend for my birthday gave me a wonderful sourdough book, and I think there is sourdough hot cross buns in that.
Yeah.
So
Yes, you might try.
not pointing at anyone in particular. Well, whatever it is and however you celebrate in these next weeks with the beautiful Easter season and yeah, and the holidays as well, where you can have a breath with your children. And I mean, well, we know how beneficial nature is, right? So get in it.
Get in it.
Yeah, yeah. Make the most of these beautiful autumn days and feed your soul and feed your children's souls with that beauty and that fun, those leaves. You've got to make the most of those leaves.
You do, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we will see you again in term 2.
Yeah. If you're wanting to enroll for classes, go to our website and get ahead of the game on that one and send us a message and we'll send you to the enrollment link. If you want to do a connection one-on-one, we are available. So just send us a message again and we can definitely connect. Yeah.
And we are working really hard as well on collaborating and offering one-on-one connection with someone else who is building a big community too.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll be letting you know about that. That's happening near the end of April, hey, Jana?
It is. If all goes to plan, it will be the 22nd, Friday, 22nd of April.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we'll look forward to hearing about that when we come back in a few weeks' time.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Take care, everyone.